Morning, Raptor Freak Alexiats. On a morning after a really bad Raptors opening night at the Air Canada Center, Scotiabank Arena. If to say that I'm disappointed about the game last night would be an understatement. There's all kinds of different things I'm disappointed in about last night, but I want to make sure that everybody isn't being a Chicken Little fan today all of a sudden, and we keep it all in perspective because it's really important to understand this is a game-to-game sport. And much like the Lakers and Brooklyn, they lost their first games to start the season. And sure, there may be some panic mode in their press and stuff like that, but this is a similar thing where we need to look at it as this is just one game. And it's important to realize that this is a baseline, a low point, a first draft. That's the way I like to put it. It's like a first draft of a book. You just wrote the first draft and it sucks. Like, it's not very good. It needs a lot of work. You need to go in there and edit it and change it around so that it makes more sense. Because right now, our team doesn't make any sense right now. There's a couple of failings that happened last night that really contributed to what happened last night. And I have blame for a lot of different people. And there's really some good places where we can improve and get better really easy and fast. There's some really dumb stuff that happened last night, just seriously dumb stuff that wasn't necessary. And, there was major failings. So let me first start with the first major failing that I think really was the thing that lost us the game last night, was the starting lineup that Nick Nurse put out there. I blame Nick Nurse, first of all, because he put out a starting lineup. And this is the thing. He had the evidence from the preseason. Every single time they lost in the preseason was because he put out this same starting lineup. And after the game in his press conference, Nick even admitted that maybe he's trying to play a combination that just doesn't work. And I think it's that starting lineup with the Miami guys in it. I don't think those two Miami guys should be starting for us, that they're not familiar enough with our system. Like even Goran's a vet and he can play within control, but he doesn't know our system. And he in some ways sticks out like a sore thumb in our system right now. I really see him as a role player off the bench who's plugged in for stability. Like if we hadn't started him last night and we had gotten off to the shaky, unconfident start that we did last night, he's the kind of guy you bring in off the bench to calm things down. And we don't do that when we put him in to start. Now, we shouldn't start more than 3 new guys in our starting lineup. We can start Scotty, and Scotty should have started last night. It's his first NBA game, and that's a special thing. And he should have started last night, yes, but they should not have started Goran and Precious last night. It should have been Kem Birch from the start because Precious was so wild at the beginning of that game. Yeah, and this is a thing. This MK, good morning. You're exactly right. This is a strength that we have now this year, that we don't have to do the Kyle and Fred backcourt. So why are we doing it with Dragic? Dragic isn't Kyle. So we need to put a taller guy at shooting guard. That's exactly right. And we need to have a guy who's not so wild and raw as Precious in the starting lineup. Kem Birch had a great game last night. He played really well down low. He had 6 offensive rebounds, and he was holding things down low for a good part of the later in the game. So I really blame Nick Nurse in some ways for starting that team to get us such a bad start in the game, because Precious ruined our confidence almost right from the start with his crazy turnovers. He was stepping on other people's feet. He just lost the ball. He just didn't look good. He didn't look good. They didn't set a tone of being consistent or being smart with the ball. We lost the ball a lot real early, and confidence just went woo, and it went down quick. It was really bad. Lumpy Rex, good morning. Agreed. Fred and Dragon wasn't look good. It's not a good combo. It's not a good combo. I don't want Dragic to be a drag on this team, and he needs to fit his way into us, not us fit around him. He has to figure out how he can fit his game to the Raptors, because last night we're running plays with him and Precious, that 2-man game with the pick and roll at the high post, And it looks good and it works sometimes. But what was happening is those guys are becoming just a unit of two among a team of five. And I don't like that. I don't want Nick to go on that strength of their familiarity from last year and just have them have to play together. They're not a set. And I don't want them to be a set this year. They shouldn't be a set. Good morning, Sue. Thank you, Sue, for going to the game last night. Oh, man. Yeah, Precious alone really killed us, like with his out of crazy play and stuff like that. And Nick Nurse has to realize, hopefully on Boston on Friday, that he can start 3 established guys with our system. Because this is the thing, we have all these new players, they don't know our system. So we need to go with the strength of having our guys that really know the system out there to start the game, because that establishes everything. And when we start these new guys that don't know exactly what they're doing with us yet, it really causes chaos that we don't need. Now, Scotty looked okay in the system, and he didn't really make a whole lot of mistakes. He had 6 turnovers, but he did a lot of really good stuff in there also. But the problem was when we started to lose our confidence, our 2 leaders didn't step up and take that leadership role and say, no, I got us. And this is where we missed Kyle last night. Like, I was really hoping we wouldn't have a repeat of last year where we really missed Serge and Mark down low with our down low last year. This year, we really missed Kyle last night. Kyle would have given us the confidence and respectability to get through that period where we had no confidence. I was shocked at how low our confidence got so fast. That where was Fred and OG with their shot last night? Like, their confidence in their shot just went out the window all of a sudden. Like, OG was like a laser in preseason, and he couldn't hit anything last night. It got infectious. So that's the thing. We got to realize when we start the game, we have to set it up in the right way. We can't be out there wild and crazy and play that way. We have to set it up the old way we used to, with a system and some confidence, because that confidence can get unraveled real fast from what we saw last night. And I worry about our 3 veteran leaders, Pascal, OG, and Fred, in these situations, that they're not going to step up and take control and be that calming presence on the court that settles things down. Fred said it after the game. He failed. He didn't do his job as a leader last night. And it's true. Sue, yes, too many guys, and I agree, OG and Fred didn't step up. They were 8 for 37 last night together, OG and Fred. 8 for 37. That's a horrible shooting percentage. We shot some of the worst basketball we shot in a long, long time last night. And part of it was stepping into each other's, just awkward stuff, missing layups that just rolled out, missing open shots. There were all kinds of shots that we would normally make and be fine that we didn't get. And it was a confidence thing after a while. Like, it was like, okay, now it's like, and then their shot, it would, like, Fred had a lay-in that could have rolled in, but it rolled out. That's the kind of stuff that kills your confidence, that makes it hard for you to feel good in the game. And, oh, man, Washington really pounced on us. It's not that Washington's that much better. They're not a super good team. Bradley Beal was pretty garbage last night. It's just that they were just a little bit better than us, than that, because we were coming back on them. And we could have won this game. All right, I got to tell you how we could have won this game last night. Let me see what you guys are saying first. It was all confidence, and we didn't play our game until Delano. Oh, my gosh. You know what happened last night? Delano took his city on his shoulders. He said, no, we're not doing this. And it could be Montrezl Harrell was talking trash to Drake in the middle of the game. And you know what he was probably saying to Drake? He was probably saying, yeah, we own your city. We own your town. We own your court. And Drake was mouthing back, and he got a technical, Montrezl. That was awesome. I love that. And that's the Drake effect. That's Drake doing good things for us, getting a technical on one of their players. I love that. But this is the thing. You know what Delano did? He came out and he stood his home ground for us. He saw the crap from the bench, and he was pissed. He heard what the Wizards were saying. He saw that they were disrespecting our home court, and he came out there and he made a difference right away. He said, this is my city, and I play for them, and we're not going to have this. And I love that it came from him, that rookie. And he played so well. The fact that we started kicking ass when he started doing that full court pressuring downhill. He was unstoppable in the full court the transition game, laying it in, passing it around. He made so many good things happen. But the other thing that happened last night, guys, that we need to talk about, because this is a huge game changer, and it was successful. Of all the things that were not successful last night, positionless basketball made its debut last night, and it was successful. It was when we had the 3 Canadians out there too. It was so poetic. All of a sudden, but Banton came out, and it was Banton, Birch, Boucher, Trent, and Barnes, and they did it perfect. Did you see the defense they held Washington to at that point in the game? They were actually getting us back in the game by holding them, not letting them score at all. Like, that defense was nasty when we had 5 big guys out there. So when we see something like that with the results of that we had one really good quarter in the fourth quarter, and that it had to do with positionless basketball and Delano Banton being the point guard, it makes Fred have to worry, because Fred, you know what? Nothing's guaranteed in the NBA. You may have a spot, but you need to play to a high level. You need to make your shots, and you need to be that leader that sets the tone of confidence. Because if you're not going to do that, we're going to get somebody else to do that. I love Fred, and I know he's going to succeed. It's just he really needs to realize that that's the leadership we need from him this year. Stability and confidence. And he failed last night. He failed. He let our team get down in the dumps with confidence. And that should never, ever, ever happen. We should never look like that to that point. It's really, really bad. All right, Gene, good morning. What's the main thing Fred VV should adjust as a point guard? Well, this is what I think he should do. It's about attitude. He had the great attitude in the press conference earlier this week, but he needs to translate it to the game. It's almost like what he's saying with the younger players, that it's different under the lights. It's a different thing. Well, Fred's going into a new level of different under the lights, that level that Kyle used to handle for us to a degree. And that's the respectability and I got us. If we're starting to falter, I got us, and we're going to get shaky, not shaky, and we're going to be professional. And we're going to play professional. And I know that we're confident, and we have a standard. That's what Fred, OG, and Pascal have to do the most this year, is make sure that we hold the Raptors to the standard that we play at. And that was not happening last night. That's what Fred needs to do, is hold us to the standard and show it in his own game. He didn't play it in his own game. I don't care if he doesn't make a lot of points, but he can't shoot 3 for 20. He cannot do that. That will kill us. So, all right, let's see what else. Delano took control and communicate. Delano, like I said, he just said, this is my city, y'all. I'm not going to let this happen like this. We can't have this kind of a dismal, bleak, depressing first game back. That I'm going to give us a bright spot. I'm going to shine for the city because this is where I'm from, and I love this city. And that's what he did. And I love the fact that him and Scotty's first shots as NBA rookies were very memorable for different things. Like Delano's half-court shot to get his first points is amazing. I love that. That's going to always be his first basket. And Scotty Barnes, he did an homage to his favorite player, Magic Johnson. He did that baby hook in the lane that Magic did in Boston Garden against the Celtics so many years ago for his first points. That meant something. And that was very, very, very intentional. He wanted to make those points for his first points. Now, Scotty, his game was all over the place in some ways. He showed flashes of brilliance and veteran stuff at times, but then, he had his problems with that alley-oop to Precious. That wasn't really an alley-oop. He didn't want to give him an alley-oop, but they weren't on the same page. So it's like chemistry and figuring things out are going to be hard under the lights right now. It seems like they were a little overconfident about how well they're playing together, because they weren't. They were stepping on each other's feet. They were not spaced right. There was all kinds of problems with the team last night that can be easily fixed. This is the thing. Everything that happened last night that went wrong can be easily fixed. And we just need Nick to get his head out of his ass with the starting lineup and get an established veteran starting lineup out there that's not wild, that's not going to set a tone of confusion and confidence is low because of it. We need to get Fred and OG and Pascal when he comes back to step up and really be leaders by example, not just by saying things, but by scoring points when we really need them, by calming down the young guys when we really need them to, because that's going to be a really important role this year. And if Delano's the guy doing it for us, That's great, but it shouldn't be him. He's not the guy who should have been coming in and trying to save us last night. And I'm going to tell y'all something really also. I'm not happy with the fans last night. Sue, I know you were at the game last night. I love you for it. I know a lot of really good fans were there last night in the 300 level, but the fans in the 100 level were straight garbage, y'all. These were the Leaf fans. These were the corporate fans. These were the people that could afford $5,000 to sit by the court side. And they're garbage fans, like in some ways, because they come there just for prestige. They come there just to be seen, or just to say, oh, I was there at that game. But they don't come there in the right way with the right energy. They come there with just kind of like, oh, we're here. And, this is entertain us, So when the Raptors don't do that, and this has been a problem in our history as a franchise with the crowd, when the team gets to a bad start like that and loses confidence, the fans don't help them. The fans become a vacuum of like, oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. And they start questioning everything and stuff like that. So when the Toronto fans get fickle about whether we're winning or not, they'll shut up. And the point when the team needs them the most is then, like when everything's going to shit. At least be loud and help them, because we let the Washington Wizards quiet our building last night. And it was too quiet for too long. Like if we had gotten louder sooner, we might have been able to make up the margin sooner and faster. Now, I don't blame the fans for what happened last night, but we could have definitely helped more. And like, what was that? Somebody said that when they left, all the fans in the bottom bowl left, they left their shirts behind. Like they didn't even take their shirts. They just left them on the chairs. Like what is that? That's a sign right there that these weren't real fans that were down there in the lower bowl last night. And that's the up close and personal with the team. That's where we need to feel that energy. So if the team's already feeling like not confident, the fans are not feeling not confident, that's the wrong energy to build in the building. You got to build that energy, that vibe. And that vibe is we're going to do good things and we want to see them dunk and we believe in them. And that's why even if they're down by 20 or 30 or 40, I will do the defense chant every single time. Even if everybody in my section looks at me like I'm fucking crazy. Like, what are you doing? They're down by 30. I don't give a shit. I'm going to cheer them all the way through. Even if they're down by 20 or 30, that's when they need you to be the loudest, is when they're down that much. Because you can really start to build some energy for them to come back on them if we do that. And we can't wait for them to give us the cue for us to cheer for them. We need to cheer for them constant. We need to be a constant, no matter what the score is, whether we're up by 20 or they're up by 20. It doesn't matter. All right, let me see what else you guys are saying here. The fans went crazy when Bannon scored. Yes, I love that moment. And I love that, like, he was a savior in a way for our city last night. Like, he really was holding our honor last night. Like, they were disrespecting us. Harold was talking mad garbage, and he destroyed us last night. And he made me realize that we need a certain role on our team that we haven't had in a long time. And it's this guy right here, Mr. Oakley. We need an enforcer. We need a guy who's going to put a guy like Harold, a punk like Harold, on his ass. Not let him do that kind of dunking stuff. Like, he was 8 for 9 last night, guys. That's disgusting. And I know maybe Birch can body him, but I think it's Precious, guys. I think we need Precious to be a bit of a goon this year. I think we need Precious to be like, you know what? You're not going to disrespect us like this down low. And this is even more the reason why I don't want him to start. Is because I want him to come off the bench and be that energy aggressive enforcer guy that comes off the bench that people are worried about off the bench. Because like, he's too raw. In the beginning of the game, he sets too many bad tones for like losing the ball, turnovers, all this kind of stuff. I know he's going to get it together and he's going to rein in his game and he's going to be a lot better over time, but he is a project and he is raw. And I can understand why Miami kept him in a box to a degree last year. But we can let him out of the box in the right ways and let him do the big new things that he's doing. It's just we need to measure it out and use it in the right way. We don't need Precious to play at the beginning of the game. That's not necessary. It's absolutely not necessary. So let's see what's going on else here. What did you guys say? MK, we need to play long always. See, that's the thing. Fred needs to realize this. If the future was shown last night, the best part of the game was when we were long. and Fred may be in trouble. So he needs to really make his shot. He needs to make that case that he's important to this team still. Because that's the thing. Like Chris Boucher's saying, this is a contract year for him, but he's not, nothing's granted in his eyes. And so nothing should be granted to Pascal, OG, or Fred. They need to earn it all over again every night. Every single night, they need to earn that leadership and those roles that they are on our team. So let's see. Kenne, good morning. Kyle had a playoff game. He scored 0. There will be moments like this, but Fred needs to pass more. Yeah, the assist totals for the Raptors last night were super disappointing. I couldn't believe how few assists they had. They really got really close to some futility records for their offense and different things last night that we don't want them doing stuff like that. Like records that were set around the Bosch era and like after Vince era stuff. We don't want them going in that kind of direction. We have a franchise that has a certain level of excellence with how they conduct themselves on the court that we've had for the last 10 years. This is what DeMar and Kyle built. And now that Kyle's gone, we need to make sure that it's still intact. And this is the shaky, scary part, like last night, that shows that maybe Fred, you've got to do it, bro. You can't mess around. I know that you just had a wake-up call, and the steps are different for you now in your new role on the team. But you're going to have to go through all the steps as that new role, as the leader. And, it's not always going to be easy. He's going to get his act together. He's not, on Boston, I'm going to expect Fred to come out there shooting the lights out and just trying to prove something. He's going to try and prove something on Friday. Fred, oh, yeah, he will. Okay, Sue, it's good, actually. Everyone need a reality check. Big learn. Yeah, I think we all did. I think I needed one, honestly. I get so pie in the sky. But this is the thing. There's balance here because there's a lot of people that are going to be on social media today being Chicken Little and being people that are like, I told you so. I hate those fans. I hate those fans that are out there today saying, I told y'all they're going to be a rebuild. First of all, this isn't a rebuild. Anybody who's saying that this team is a rebuild, they don't understand the terms of basketball. A rebuild is what Washington is doing. That is where you take half your team and you switch the team half. We haven't switched half our team. We've got like maybe 4 or 5 new players, but we have a core that's established from before. And if we didn't have that core anymore, I'd say it's a rebuild. But because we have Pascal, OG, Fred, those guys, and Cam, and it's not a rebuild. The rebuild is what Washington's doing. We're building from what we already had. So it's not like a tear down, start all over kind of thing. So, and these fans that are saying, I told you so, I told you so, I knew they were going to be bad. I hate those fans. You're not fans. Why are you rooting for them to lose and then gloating when they are losers? That's not what fans do. That's what people that are fans of other teams acting like they're fans of us do. Stuff like that is really bad. Okay, let's see what else you guys are saying. Sue, agreed about fans. It was tough it's tough last night. Everyone got really quiet. People stopped cheering until Banton. Yeah, it's really gonna be like, I don't mind looking like a crazy person there. Like I will cheer loud the whole way through, but it's really gonna be something where we gotta be like, they're struggling, they're learning, we're not mature as a team, and we gotta, we can still be loud and make it hard for the other team to play in it. That could be a constant no matter what. We should make it loud in that environment no matter what when the other team has the ball, because it helps them. It helps them even if they're not doing well. It's that kind of thing. So we can't let everybody's confidence get rattled. The fans, the leaders, and the rookies. Because that who's carrying us? Who is holding our swagger? Who is our I got us? Who is our I got us? Was it Delano Banton? It looked like it was last night. That's who it was. All right, Sue, also not sure what Svi was doing under the basket a number of times with those odd passes went right through. There was a lot of turnovers. There weren't enough assists. There were problems with, we couldn't contain Gafford, but they didn't really use Gafford much on us, thankfully. It was more Harrell that destroyed us down low, that we really need a big guy to put somebody on their ass. Like I'm saying, we need a player that's going to have a mentality like Charles Oakley used to, that says you're going to try and come to the basket near us or try and do anything around the basket. We're going to put you on the floor or make you think twice about it at least. But we don't have anybody doing that right now, which is too bad. Paul B. Banton looked great. Need way more of him. I know. Like after the first game, I'm almost like, Nick, start him on Friday. Give Fred a message. I don't know what the message is. I don't know what he's going to do. But he definitely doesn't need to start Precious. That is one thing I know for sure. That Precious should not be in the starting lineup until we know that he's more reined in as a player to a degree. He can play a lot of minutes later, but he shouldn't start, because the whole thing about starting is establishing the game. And we failed at establishing the game every time Goran and Precious have started for us, whether it was in the preseason games or in this game last night. We failed to establish our offense and establish ourselves in the game. And that's where you need to find the right starting combination that can do that. And that's why I think it's Kem Birch. Kem Birch will establish down low. He'll get rebounds. He was getting crazy offensive rebounds last night. And I even think Gary Trent should start. Like someone said earlier, we don't need to be starting two smaller guards. Like Goran Dragic is really kind of a point guard size guard. And he hurts us on the outside. We need to play into our strengths right away. So put length out there at the beginning with Fred. Fred needs to be out there to steady things and calm things. But if he's not going to step up and be the leader that he wasn't last night, if he's going to not do that, keep us confident and keep us going in tough spots, then Delano. Sure, bring Delano in and let him run things like he did last night and see what we get from that. Oh, man, I really was hoping that this would be a lot easier stream this morning, but, it is what it is. And it's too bad that the first game back was kind of like turned into this and became what it was last night. It's sad in some ways, but the preseason games had a totally different vibe, like with the energy and the feel and how the team was playing. And I don't know if it was just rookie nerves or just like emotions, like they were saying in the press conference afterward. Like Nick Nurse was saying, there was some emotions and raw, jittery energy just because of it being opening night and having so many young players and just all that kind of stuff. There was a little bit of nerves last night. So, yeah, it's going to be like this. There's going to be game to game. We're going to have to take it game to game. There's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be, this is a thing. One thing I will tell y'all, every time we play, whether we win or lose, I'm going to spin it in a positive way. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're doomed and everything. I still think we can win a championship. I still think that we can be a top 4 team in the East. It's just we've got a lot of work to do. And they're going to watch a lot of tape today. They're going to try and fix a lot of things. And hopefully, this is the thing. We could have a crappy game like last night where it seems like we're one of the worst teams in the league. And then we'll go to Boston and we'll blow them out. Like, seriously, this could happen. Like, we could, and they're motivated because they looked bad last night. They're going to be very motivated to come out on Friday on the right foot and show a whole different kind of team, because they don't want to be the team that they were last night for the whole rest of the year. They don't want that to be our identity. That's not who we are, guys. These guys aren't right that think we're only going to win 30% of our games. We're going to get it together and figure it out. There were a lot of things that we were doing right and getting it right. Like, I'm telling you, that fourth quarter was really telling. We did not let Washington score at all, hardly. And we really limited their three-point shooting last night. We did a really good job stopping the threes last night. And when we had that team in the fourth quarter with Banton at point guard, did you see the length side to side when they put their arms out like this? The balls were just getting deflected and getting stolen, and we were just getting everything. And how much, even in the first half, did you see us scrambling up their offense near the half-court line where the ball was already loose all of a sudden? We just kept knocking the ball loose near the half-court line, and it was causing all kinds of great things. But the problem was a lot of those things weren't getting turned into points. Like, we were getting kind of half turnovers, but then we'd fuck up the pass, or we'd turn over the ball in the fast break, and we weren't getting the rewards of that scrappiness and deflections and those kind of things. But that stuff was there, and there was a lot of it in the first half. Think about how many times we deflected the ball at the top of the three-point line, between the three-point line and half court. That was happening a lot in the first half. And so these are good signs. These are things that show that this can be a common thing for the team. It's just the problem is we got to clean up all the other stuff. And, there's a lot to clean up. There sure is. And each role really needs to think about what they could do better in the game and stuff like that. Like, Precious really needs to rein it in. I like his energy and I like a lot of things about him, but he can really hurt us if he's handling the ball too much. And another thing I noticed last night is I don't like Kem Birch handling the ball up court like everybody else is doing. I know we're saying it's positionless and everybody can bring the ball up the court, but I don't think Kem should be one of those guys because their guards were picking his pocket and they made us pay for that, having Kem handle the ball at all coming up the court. So maybe, we don't have every single guy handling the ball and bringing it up the court because I think Kem looked suspect every time he had it like that. Let's see. All right. Sue, Nick said it will be a big teaching day today. Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of teaching day. That's the thing. They have a lot of tape. They can show them exactly how things went wrong and what they could have done better in different situations. I worry because this is a confidence thing. We can't have guys lose confidence, whether it's Fred as a leader, whether it's Precious as a player, whether it's, the fans on their team, because we see what happens. As soon as confidence is lost, it spreads like a virus. It spreads like COVID around us. It's like a confidence virus. And, oh, no, we're doing horrible. And then everybody freezes up and they don't know what to do. We can't have that. We need more guys know what to do in those kind of situations that are scary and dangerous, where things are like falling apart. We need somebody to step up, and that should be Fred. That should be Pascal. That should be OG. Even Boucher could do a little bit of that stepping up. His shot wasn't back. He's not ready. I didn't think he was ready last night, although he looked really good in that positionless scheme. Like I said, it was cool that it was the three Canadians and Barnes and Gary Trent, and it was really effective. Like, if you look at how many points Washington scored while that lineup was out there, it was very few. We held them to like under 10 points during that stretch. And that bodes really well. That's good footage for them to look at. There's a lot of bad tape to watch, but there was some good tape to watch too. Just a little bit, not too much. I don't know how much I want to keep going with this. If you guys have any more questions or you want to talk about anything more, let's not dwell on this too much. I know it's the first game and it's the only one so far, so it's really easy to just say, oh, this is who we are. But that's not what this is. It can't be like this because it's not indicative of the whole package. We saw our worst, really. In some ways, we saw our worst. We saw all the problems that we're going to have as a young team and inexperienced in certain ways. Whether it's inexperienced being the top leader like Fred or inexperienced just in the younger players. So let's see. All right, what else? Brian said, I was hoping Nick would mix it up since our main guys clearly didn't have it, but he just kept sticking with them. Yeah, I think he had to a degree, just to let them try and figure it out. But you're right. I would have loved to have seen Champagne in there last night at some point, or Banton a little earlier. It does seem like if he put Banton in a little earlier, that may have helped us because of the way Banton played. I mean, yeah. So, that's the thing. If he's going to be fluid and let different guys come in, he should really let different guys come in. Like, if we need a shot in the arm, bring Justin Champagne in and let him crash the boards and do all the energy stuff he does. Another player I really think we missed last night. I mean, obviously we missed Pascal. Pascal probably could have helped us at full strength and good health with getting some baskets in quiet times. But I really missed Yuta last night. Like, I feel like Yuta might have been the guy who could have gotten us out of some of that scoring problems because his scoring's really good right now, whether his shooting or going to the basket. So this is the thing. We got a lot of different guys that we need to find when this pick and choose their spots. And it maybe we don't know exactly when they need to be picking and choosing their spots. And Nick Nurse isn't doing exactly right with the rotations yet. You're exactly right, Brian. He could have done better with like mixing guys in. I did like how frequently he was mixing guys in. Nobody seemed like they were getting too tired. He played Scotty a lot last night. And Scotty did seem like he was a little winded at the end of the game. But for the most part, it didn't seem like we were that exhausted or getting beat energy-wise too much. It was just smart-wise we were getting beat. We were getting beat by a veteran kind of NBA team. It's like they were more veteran team than we were. And also their approach to the game was a lot better than ours. Like, this is what Fred said after the game. He's like, this is the NBA. These guys are coming to kill us. You guys got to treat it like that these guys are coming to kill us. And we got to match their energy and think we want to kill them. And I don't think we had that NBA level of killer instinct to start the game last night. And that really hurt us. That Washington was hungry and they had something to prove. They didn't win a preseason game and they wanted to show that they were actually a good team. And they did okay. They did show that they're a good team in some ways. They have weapons, but they're still not together. And I don't think they are that good a team overall in the grand scheme of things. Like, they're definitely going to be like a team that's right around the play-in. But they probably will be a playoff team. So let's see. MK47, Barnes and Delano need more time to do. I love that rookie synergy. And you can tell that because they're both such giving passer players, they really give you like a thing. We don't know who's going to try and take the ball or who they're going to pass it to or anything like that. And Scotty's doing these no-look passes in the game and stuff. That's fine as long as he's not turning the ball over. And I worry that he might get too fancy with his showtime and stuff like that and cause mistakes just because he's doing that kind of stuff. Just do the fundamentals. We really need the fundamentals right now, just until we feel real sound in what we're doing and confident. It's like doing all the extra stuff is what turns the ball over and causes the problems. Like really poor passing across the court where Washington's just taking the ball through the lane, doing stuff that we do to us. So they really got to watch their passing and really make them crisp pass and like the right passes. And there was just we didn't have good spacing. We didn't have a good rhythm between the different players. The passing wasn't good. We weren't on the same page. There was like a lot of stuff that went wrong. There were layups that rolled out. There were shots that were open, like open shots that OG would make. He missed. There was a lot of things going wrong last night. There really was. Sue's exactly right. It will and can only get better. And I really do believe that. Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is like writing a first draft of a book. The first draft is sometimes really shitty and doesn't make any sense. And you got to go in there and fix it. And then it gets better and better. And then hopefully you have a great novel, a bestseller by the end of the year. So we'll see. Paul B, why not bring in Decker down 20? Yeah. I was like thinking maybe Washington's sweating because we might bring Decker in and do what we did before. We didn't see any Decker or Flynn last night, which is surprising in a way because of how well they did against Washington last week. But also, Nick's trying to do the core guys and the top guys in the lineup to start. And I just think he had them in the wrong order. That if he had really made that starting lineup better, we would have gotten off to a better start. It made it set the whole tone of the game way, way better last night. The tone was set really poorly at the very beginning of the game. Sure, Fred hit that 3 right off the bat and we were up 5-0, but that's the only thing we did right. After that, it was all downhill. So, yeah, very frustrating game. Really tough to see a Raptor team that's so not confident once again. Like, we haven't seen a team that lacks confidence like this in years, maybe even since very early Lowry years. So it's disheartening, but it isn't time to be Chicken Little fan. Sky's falling. We're not going to make the playoffs. Oh, we're in a rebuild. Oh, we're garbage. We should just tank and go for a lottery pick. It's none of that still. Because this is the first game, the one game out of 82 games. And there's so many games. We could have had this game in the middle of the season in any week, and we wouldn't bat an eye at it. It was just like, oh, that was just one bad game. But because it's the very first game and the first thing we're seeing, it's all like paramount in our head, like forefront. So let's see what happens in Boston. Now, if we lose in Boston too, it's going to be like, oh, this is more evidence of them not being very good. But see, I won't give up on them still because it's still such a small sample size. And they just need to get their act together and figure it out. Like, Fred has too much pride, and he's probably hates himself today for letting his team down because he did, and he knows he did. And even OG on the down low knows he let his team down last night. So nobody really played super well other than Delano. All the rest of them shot poorly. Nobody had more than 12 points. Like, how can you get through a game with your leading scorer is 12 points? We had 2 guys with 12 points and 1 guy with 11. That's garbage. That is garbage scoring. That means somebody needs to step up and take that mantle. And it may have been we should have put Decker in to get 25 points in like 10 minutes all of a sudden. That might have been really smart. So I think that Nick Nurse is to blame for a lot of what happened last night just by setting the tone with a poor starting lineup. He saw the evidence in the preseason that those Miami guys don't need to be starting for us right now. They just shouldn't. They don't equivalent They're not the equivalent to Kyle Lowry leaving just because they were in the trade. So you don't put them in the starting lineup and stuff like that, because Goran Dragic doesn't give us the same things that Kyle Lowry did. And Precious is just too raw, and he's causing confusion and chaos on our team where we need to have an established offense. Yeah, starting Dragic never went well in the preseason. It only went well in that one game when Fred and OG didn't play against Washington, and that's because he was out there. I think they started a bigger guard with him, right? He was starting with Gary Trent, and that's the whole thing about starting two shorter guards. We should not ever do that. It's like if the lineup is Fred, Goran, Malachi, that's our 3-point guards. They should never maybe not be on the court together. Like, I know they like to do this whole thing, Malachi and Fred playing off each other like they did with Kyle before. But I think that that's something that we need to phase out in our new era of positionless basketball, that we should never have two short guards out there at the same time, because that's been a weakness for us that we've played around for a long time. But we don't need to play with that weakness anymore. We can play with height now. So anyway, guys, it's about 40 minutes in. I don't want to stew too much in this misery of last night, because it's going to get better. Sue's right. It can only get better from here. Obviously, if it gets worse on Friday, then we'll dig a little deeper worse, and I'll make up excuses and spin it positively on Saturday morning, I promise. But it's like, no, I'm not going to get down on this team and not believe that they can't win and still win and do everything at a high level. It's just that they got to learn, and we're at the very bottom level, and it's going to take some time. Yeah, let's beat Boston. Let's get Boston. We owe Boston, and now we owe Washington something. So this is the thing. We can use this game that we had last night as a place to look back to. We can always think back to the first game of the season, how bad we looked. And then like a month from now, we can like, wow, remember how bad we looked on the opening night? And in a month from now, maybe we'll laugh, because it's like it pales in comparison to how great we got in just a short period of time. So we're going to have these kind of games where we lose awful, ugly games like last night, but then we're going to win games against big teams we had no business winning. And people are going to be like, whoa, what is this team? They don't know. So it's going to be both. It's going to be feast or famine with this team sometimes. And last night we had famine. We had a really hard time scoring. We had horrible shooting percentages overall. We had no assists. Those were huge problems for us. No chemistry, no passing, no easy baskets in transition somehow, even though we were getting a lot of deflections and stuff like that. Our offensive rebounding was insanely good. We won the rebounding battle last night, guys, which is a win in some ways. But, yeah, Harold did kill us. And Harold needs to be put on the ground by somebody on this team that's going to act like this guy, Charles Oakley. All right, y'all. Just win, baby. We'll get it on Friday. We owe Boston. We'll beat Boston. Don't be a Chicken Little fan right now, and don't worry. Kenny, I hope Nick Nurse doesn't overthink this and start trying complicated schemes. I don't think he will. He's more likely to make it more simple than make it more complicated, because he will work with the team and understand where things are. It may be that things are just a little too complicated right now already, and they may need to get back to the basics and just say, look, go out there and just pass the ball and shoot. Like, we don't need to do all this cutting, and we don't need you to do all this stuff. Let's just find our offense again some other way. So, all right, guys, keep your heads up and realize there were good things that happened last night. Delano Banton's a great bright spot. We saw the positionless basketball for the fourth quarter. It was very effective, and it looks like a really great tool we're going to have. Maybe we should have used it a little earlier last night. And I love Drake getting a technical on Montrezl Harrell. I love the way the rookies made their first baskets. And, I love that they're just back in the building and everything like that, even if it wasn't the best night. All right, Brian. Thanks, guys. Every morning, sometime between 8 and 11, I'll be doing this every morning, either previewing or reacting or just talking Raptors, whatever's going on with them right now. Thanks, Kenny. Take care. Good luck, guys. Have a good Friday tomorrow and a good weekend and a good Thursday today, everybody. Stay true to your Raptors and don't give up. Let's not lose confidence. We have to be confident all around, including you, Fred VanVleet. You got to get that confidence back, and you got to lead with that confidence.